Hey folks, Mahesh here with Reza Behind the Camera. Today we'll show you how to photograph interesting patterns made by smoke. First, we'll use a conventional flash system, then we'll show you how to do it using a continuous light system. Let's get started. Here's all the stuff you'll need. A black background. I'm using the back of a reflector. It's great. Second, you'll need a smoke source. I'm using incense. It's a great source of smoke. Third, if you're using a strobe that has a modeling light, turn it on. This will help you focus on the smoke. If you're using a speed light, then you might need another source of light like a table lamp. We're using a speed light and we've made our own barn door with some cardboard paper. Works great. 4, you'll need a remote trigger for your flash using this type of system. You'll also, of course, need a camera. I'm using a 24-70 lens on the camera, and here it is. This is a 24-70 lens on a Sony a7 R3, but feel free to experiment with different focal lengths, including a macro lens. Let's talk about some of your camera settings. I like to use a relatively narrow aperture, such as f5.6 or f8, so I can get more of the smoke in focus. Keep your ISO at 100 and set the shutter speed around 1/160th of a second or 1/200th of a second. First, we're gonna shoot using a flash system, this system right here or something similar. Adjust the flash with modifiers such as barn doors or simple cardboard so you minimize the light spilling onto the black background. We don't want any light spilling onto this black background. Start shooting. Play around with the light power until the image looks just right, not too bright or not too dark. Here's a pro tip. Shoot in RAW and adjust your white balance in camera to get interesting tones to your smoke. If you're unhappy, you can always modify it later in post-processing since you shot in RAW. Now that we shot with a strobe system, let's move on to talking about how we do this using a continuous light system, which is my preferred method. With a continuous high power light source, there is no need for a modeling light or a flash trigger, and you'll see exactly what you're capturing before the flash actually goes off. In addition, you can adjust the power of the light and see the effects on the smoke real time. Now we've taken our shots, let's head over to the digital darkroom and edit them. We are now here in Lightroom and I have 3 of the smoke images I just took on display in the grid format. I'm going to double click on this and give you a zoomed up view. Here's one, here's the second one, and here's the third one. The patterns are interesting, but the colors leave something to be desired. This is where we're going to work with the white balance and tones and come up with something that's a little bit more pleasing, and then I'm going to take those images into Photoshop and combine them into something more creative. So let's look at the first image, which is this one. I want to make this a green tone. So I first do that by messing around with the white balance. I'm going to go and do that under the develop module. Here, typically, you notice the white balance is set to auto. You can go and try different white balance and see how you like it. For example, daylight doesn't do very much. Fluorescent makes it a blue color. And tungsten, let's see what that does. It makes it even bluer. So I want something a little greenish, and because I have lots of experience with this, I know the green value is around -150 for the tint and about 2000 or so for the temperature. So let's go to -150 and about, it's already getting nice and green, so 2000 is actually pretty good. So this is a nice green tint. Now we want to make it pop a little bit, and it's simple. Just hit the auto tone, and you notice a beautiful shade of green sort of pops up into the screen, but you notice there's a little bit of green to the background. So the background did have a little bit of light spillage. Now we can correct that in Lightroom by just taking the black levels and decreasing it. Now it's just a beautiful green smoke pattern with a completely black background. So that's one way of getting rid of some of the light spillage onto your background. Let's move on to the next image, and here I want to make this with, again, a slightly different white balance. And this one I'm going to go to about 6900 in the warm tone, so make it a little pinkish. Let's see, 6900 is typically where I put this to make it a pink glow. That's close enough. And tint, maybe about 94, 95. Yeah, that looks pretty good, sort of lavender pink tone. And again, I'm going to hit the auto. It brings out the brightness. Again, there's a lot of spillage in the back, but I'm going to correct that by taking the black level and really pushing it down, so that looks pretty good. Really makes that lavender pink color pop, doesn't it? And the interesting part is also these beautiful patterns made by the smoke. And finally, this last one, I'm going to make it a blue pattern, and that is done by having the white balance about 2700 or so. That's pretty good. And I'm going to make the tint plus 14 plus 8. That's pretty good. And then again, let's hit the auto tone, get the pop out. Beautiful. The background has a little bit of blue tinge to it because of the light spillage. I'm going to take that black and really bring it down. And great. So now we've got these three beautiful tones. These images just by themselves I think are really beautiful. But now we can take these and combine them in Photoshop to come up with something even more creative. So let's do that. Let's go to our grid view, select these images, shift click, right click, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Okay, here we are in Photoshop, and the three images have been brought up as a single file but as separate layers. Here's the green image, here's the pink image, and here's the blue image. So I'm going to take these layers, I'm going to shift and select all of them, and I'm simply going to change the blending pattern from normal to screen. And voila, here's this beautiful pattern of green, lavender, pink, and blue, creating this awesome effect. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We'll catch you next time with another educational video. Happy New Year!